I rise today in opposition to the resolution of disapproval of Mr. Wilson. A friend of mine back in Indiana likes to say that Washington, D.C. is miles surrounded by reality. Never felt truer than it does today. Think about it. Our economy is struggling, families are hurting, and Congress is poised to demand an apology from a man who has already apologized. Extraordinary. Let me stipulate that Joe Wilson is a good man and a man of integrity. He's a devoted husband to his beloved Roxanne, a proud father of 4 American servicemen. I've traveled with Joe into some pretty tight spots, like many of my Democrat colleagues have. I've seen his devotion to our soldiers. I've never failed to be inspired by his love for the men and women of this country in uniform, his love of his country and his constituents. You know, the old book tells us a harsh word stirs up anger. Well, we might have seen a little bit of that last week. In the midst of a highly partisan speech by the President of the United States, Joe made a mistake. Immediately after the speech was over, Joe recognized his mistake and he offered his sincere apology to the President and the President's staff. And he was right to apologize. But it's important to note that despite his admitted error, the broader national interest was actually served. The American people didn't send us here just to get along. They sent us here to get it right. And ironically, because of Joe Wilson's outbursts, we've been engaged in nearly a week-long debate about what's really in H.R. 3200. In fact, now the American people know there's nothing in the Democrats' bill in the House that requires an individual to verify their identity or citizenship, leaving open the very possibility of undocumented workers receiving health care benefits. This was confirmed by the Congressional Research Service that noted in the absence, quote, of a provision in the bill specifying the verification procedure, undocumented immigrants could receive taxpayer-subsidized health benefits. If you need any further proof, the White House clarified their position last Friday, stating their support for verification expressly of an individual's citizenship. So despite the controversy and the sound and the fury, Congress has a shot to get it a little more right than they would have otherwise. But let me speak as I close about the broader issue of bringing this resolution to the floor of the Congress today. I was home in Indiana yesterday. Hoosiers were shocked with the news that one of our most storied companies, Eli Lilly and Company, was announcing 5,500 layoffs. I was in Evansville, Indiana in August on the very day that Whirlpool announced that they were closing a factory and sending more than 1,000 jobs out of that city and out of this country forever. More than 2 million jobs have been lost since the so-called stimulus bill was passed. 15 million Americans were out of work. And yet here we are, taking time in the people's house to demand an apology from a man who has already apologized. The American people want better. The American people want less politics and more jobs. They want Congress to set aside petty partisan politics and come together to take action to get this economy moving again.
Carolina.
I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Time has expired.
I yield the gentleman 1 additional minute.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 additional minute.
Last Wednesday was not a good day in the House. But today is worse. Today we see politics overwhelming this institution. The American people are tired of it. So let me say again, without the din of the gavel, I urge my colleagues to vote no on this resolution. Put attention back on the work that the American people sent us here to perform, and that is to serve the interests of their families and the interests of this nation with everything we've got. I'm with Joe. Vote no. I yield.